Hello, I'm Dave Dager. Our topic is aging, contemporary cultural changes in Christian ministries. I will cite several authors in this. I'll use quotes, paraphrase, and I'll add my own commentary to their writings. For the first time in history, the United States Census Bureau predicts that by the year 2034, percentage of older people, which is 65 and older, will be higher than those of children, which is people under 18. And you can see by the trend line that that's only going to get further apart with time. So we have to define what culture changes. So from what to what? So let's set the stage with culture in the 1950s through the 2000s. We looked at the aged people as 60 and older. They had an excellent work ethic. They worked long hours and weekends. They were respected by one another and by all around them. And whenever you saw somebody older, you just automatically trusted them. They had a wealth of worldly information. Let's turn to American culture in the 2020s. Despite being healthier in body and mind, the aged are considered now 50 and older. We're saying 20 years ago, people were let go from work in their 50s. There were age discrimination suits. Today, 50, 55 is the target and everybody's out. Work ethic is no longer a big issue. And people look at working long hours as a waste of my life. And how many times have you heard respect has to be earned? And today they think, oh, I trust my friends and some of my family. And frankly, older people get in my way and have the cherry jobs I deserve. So in the past, we learned everything from our parents and grandparents, including cooking, yard work, repairing things, manners, how to be respectful to people, and how to honor God. Today, it's all about speed and convenience. We pay people to make our food or pick up or even for delivery. We rent or live in a condo so somebody else can take care of everything for us. Instead of repairing things, we replace them. And why respect? What's the big deal with respect? It's not an issue anymore. And most want to watch church online from their favorite mega church. Contemporary trends in churches and services have changed from the traditional church buildings with the minister and the elders in charge to the mega church auditoriums catering to people in their 20s and 30s. Anyone in charge of any ministry is called a pastor, whether they've been to seminary or not. This is what a pastor looked like in the 50s and 60s. Now this is what a pastor looks like. Back then, men wore suits, women wore dresses. Women, in fact, wore hats. Go into most contemporary churches today and you will see people with shorts on. Music used to come from hymnals played by an organ, by an elderly lady, just loud enough that the very strong voice of the congregation could be heard and sometimes causing people to turn their heads toward that person. Now we have miniature rock bands playing contemporary Christian music in the manner of Hillsong worship, and it's loud enough to encourage everyone to sing without being caught out of key. As a result, for many of the aged who now have hearing aids in their 50s and 60s, they have to take them out so they don't blow their eardrums out. The Apostle Paul wrote to the saints in Corinth, so that the grace that is reaching more and more people may cause thanksgiving to overflow to the glory of God. Therefore, do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, the age that is, yet inwardly We are being renewed day by day. McKetty wrote the following: "We have a huge resource of witnesses to the grace of God. Let us use them to the full. They're most qualified to teach others about God and to pass on the inheritance of faith. The elderly saints in Christ certainly provide the potential for active witness to the Word and redemptive works of God, and the older saints have the wisdom to teach and encourage at both the personal and community level. Those in later life who embrace the unsearchable riches of Christ have an all-pervasive and important contribution to make to our development as a Christian community. Are there not within the Church of Christ older men and women who have the same zeal for the advancing of God's eternal purpose as those in the Old Testament? We could look back at Simeon, whose witness and testimony is a huge encouragement to many, and others who fought the good fight till the very end." Hansen wrote, "Baby boomers are approaching aging in a radically different way than the preceding generations. They have no desire to spend their retirement years sitting in the rocking chair playing shuffleboard. Just as when they were young, they were interested in changing the world. They don't want to get old, and they're doing everything they can to stay healthy and to look young. Many boomers plan to keep working in some fashion, specifically in jobs where they're making a difference in society. It is crucial for church leaders to see older adults as essential to the mission of the church, involve them 100% in that mission. Older adults need to be recognized as having time, experience, and resources to be invested in significant kingdom work. These adults need to be called to something greater than themselves and viewed as vital and essential to the mission. A ministry to older adults implies that the older adults are passive receivers in a relationship. Ministry involves giving them something, almost with the idea that they are too old to continue contributing to the ministry and others, and people now need to serve them. This is not true. Ministry with or through older adults suggests that this is a ministry we do together, everyone serving and giving to the community. One of the best ways to do this is get the generations serving together. Older man and a young person can work side by side at, let's say, Habitat for Humanity. In this setting, they're working together for a common cause, and their differences in music, fashion, a host of other things no longer matter. We will see churches create a brand new ministry to specifically target the aging boomer. Current senior adult ministry will not reach the new old, and to be effective in reaching the generation, we will need an entirely different ministry. Along with this, we will see a number of churches hiring a staff member to address all the issues surrounding the baby boomers. Houston and Parker write, "A church must be visible, key shareholder in the aging of America, yet many of its structures and programs are outdated. Most programs of senior ministry, such as Social Security, Medicare programs, were developed during the 19th and 20th centuries, were based on the fundamental premise that life is relatively short. Churches are thought of as institutions that neglect the training of their leaders, particularly in gerontology. We think caregiving will be the great test of character in this century. Alzheimer's, dementia, poor health, changes in health, elder care, transportation, loneliness, depression, and dependency are issues today. Church has the obligation to become part of the solution for these aging challenges. Few seminaries offer courses in this, though all pastors have older persons in their congregations. We believe the church is obligated to act as a countercultural, biblically based advocate. Church should offer caregiving support, late life planning, strategies for successful aging, mental and moral support. Need to divert some of the resources spent on becoming relevant to those in their 20s to this aging population. We think that there are reasons to be hopeful that the church is on the precipice of an exciting impaction of our culture. They will help lead us back to the hybrid culture, combining the personalities and talents of multiple generations. In summary, in the past 5 or 6 decades, we've come from a culture that valued older members to one where the young think about themselves and put little value on anything else, particularly the elderly. Despite the recent trend of the church to cater to young members, we're seeing young pastors passing into that category themselves that they've so long neglected. A culture shift is starting to occur, which will likely see all people, regardless of age, as image bearers and act accordingly. It is the church's responsibility and therefore ours. Thank you.